I'm Jonathan Shatke, the Wizard Wombat, and I'm going to tell you how to make a good open world space adventure game using existing IPs to save great amounts of lore development time and stuff like that. So Starfield has some beautiful things going for it. It's got that's a really great desolate vista, and if we look at the map, we've got this great mapping of random planets. This is terrific, right? So far, so good. But it fails miserably from here on out. Okay, so the first thing to do is borrow from Traveler and make world generation based upon Traveler codes. Size from 1,000 to 10,000 miles in diameter for normal for planets or rocky type planets. Then you've got different atmospheres ranging from vacuum all the way up to corrosive and insidious. And all of those things can be implemented easily in the game. And all of the tools are here in Starfield already. But we wouldn't want to use Starfield's engine anyway because, oh God, did they fuck it up. The next thing to do is take out the stupid dragon shout powers, and what you can have factions, you can have quest lines. All those things can be put in. So the first thing to do is to make the universe generatable infinitely. You go to the edge of the star map, and it isn't barren after that. It's bigger. The galaxy is 100,000 stars. Oh. 100,000, it's got to be millions of stars because we can't see the littler ones. How big is the Milky Way galaxy, right? Wikipedia says it has 100 to 400 billion stars, 100,000 light years across, something like that. Estimated at 26 kiloparsecs, or 87,000 light years across. So we can make, it's huge, right? So how do we do? How do we go from that massiveness to something we can handle? Well, you just can explore forever if you want. Keep going. It keeps going out there. 1,000 light years, 10,000 light years. You want to keep going, you keep going. As long as you've got the ability to refuel your ship, keep it from breaking down, great. So, starships. Starships are kind of cool in Starfield here. But they're stupid. They're insane. They don't have any sanity to them. I've made this starship that is obviously a dispersed structure, not streamlined. This thing shouldn't land on a planet unless it's got grav-assist, so it can go through the atmosphere slow. So you actually make your shipbuilding decisions have some in-game penalties, right? If you make it nice and sleek and use the fairings, now you can go fast through the atmosphere. You make that seamless. You make all the terrain seamless, like it was in Morrowind. Except you generate it. Instead of making these pre-planned dungeons, right? This is the Mooey Bridge thing. You make up a name for the company. You make up the map with tile pieces. You know, so you've got a lab building. You've got it, and you put those together, and you make up 3 or 4 things together, and that's your outpost that you're finding. The outpost is generated with pieces randomly each time, so they keep getting different, right? And the people inside are different. They're not all abandoned. The vast majority are not abandoned. Because people are doing stuff that's a busy universe, right? Yeah, it's fun to explore dungeons, but things that have been broken down, well, you can apply breakdown tiling or rules to stuff, right? Like if I'm going to have this abandoned, maybe these panels that make up this ramp are starting to get shifted. Maybe there's a tree growing through one and it's pushing up some around it. Stuff like that would make it an interesting way of making an abandoned site, right? Instead of this, the abandoned site is fully functional. And the only way you can tell it's abandoned is by being told. And all the things not being owned. Of course, you have to, take away this stupid stolen item tag on things in your inventory. The physics engine in here is pretty bad. You'd have to do a real physics engine where blowing stuff up blows stuff up. Plastic melts and glass melts in extreme heat. Steel melts in extreme heat. That sort of thing. Every material in real life has material properties that could be modeled in a game, and every situation has things that happen in real, So brittle things like glass, you drop them instead of set them down, and and they break. So in this game, I pick something up by hitting E. My hand doesn't go to it. My hand should grab it. What? I want to grab something in real life. My hand goes out to it. I grab it and then I put it down somewhere, or I throw it, or whatever. I should be able to throw whatever I can pick up if it's light enough. If it's heavier, I should need to use 2 hands. Maybe this is a heavy liquid jug. I should need to use 2 hands for that. We don't know what it's filled with. Everything should be, filled, even if it's with vacuum. You take a container full of air out into vacuum, it should open up and equalize pressure to the vacuum. In other words, you lose the air. You take a container of vacuum down to a planet and open it up. Now it should have to, it should become filled with air, right? Because that's how it works. This is a simple physics engine that you would want in a real space game. Lasers should do lasery looks of their things. It shouldn't be that, you know, I use, oh, where is it? There we are. Equinox. That's supposed to be a laser rifle. It makes a gunshot sound. And I get this little, it uses ammo instead of a battery pack. It makes a click. And I get, you know, a machine gun sound from a laser rifle. That's dumb. How incredibly dumb can you get, right? Actually, you know, actual in-game effects from having no atmosphere. You have no atmosphere or a thin atmosphere. Nobody should be able to hear anything unless you're in physical contact. That was the dumbest thing. Okay, so you make lasers, actual lasers. You make, you know, a particle, a fusion gun or a plasma gun actually shoots plasma guns. I can use existing IP from Traveler and do the whole Traveler weapons gamut, and you know, it'd be a lot cleaner than this. Now, there are ways to increase bullet capacity. I can have a more powerful bullet and put it in the same gun and get a more powerful shot out of it. But I have a risk if I do that. Now see that? The branch. Oh, there's a rock there. That rock stuff shot. Huh? So I can, if I do that, as long as the chamber pressure can hold, the can fire things. So if I'm making a game that's going to have guns in it, and I want to have tens of thousands of different types of guns available, well, what's the best way to do that? Well, I make different parts of the gun. I have different receivers, different actions for pistols, right? And I have the revolver action, an automatic gas-operated action, an automatic electric action. And you can scale those to any caliber, and you can and you know, as you scale to bigger calibers, you need to have it more reinforced. So you just make that you know, each thing has a scaling factor for your caliber. So if I'm going to 50 cal, you know, I'm going to have a much bigger action for a revolver than if it's, you know, and you have what I would call is the, when you have a gun, you have the bullet size, which is the caliber of the barrel, and you have the cartridge size, which is the shape and weight of the additional material for the propellant. If you know, caseless, you would have that propellant. That propellant could be around the base of the bullet. So the idea, and by doing that, you can, you know, effectively have an infinite number of actions, even going into full-on tank guns, right? And you know, you can have different materials available for doing the different action pieces. So if I'm going with a tungsten titanium alloy, you know, a super alloy action, it's going to be a lot tougher a material. Toughness is a material property that you can manipulate. So if I'm doing that, I'm going to have a more effective material. I can make the action can get very much smaller. And if I'm making it at a low tech world, then that's, you know, the same action to make you know, a 20 millimeter cannon is going to be a lot heavier. So tech level is something in Traveler, and you can have that implemented in what is available to build on that planet, and freely available to buy, and what is going to be an expensive import to buy. Oh, did I screw my? No, I did not screw myself. Here we go. It's hard to screw yourself with an advance, but you can. All right. So that would solve two of the issues that Starfield has that make it feel small. Because Starfield feels really small because all of the you know, you've got maybe a dozen different dungeon layouts that are repeated, and then you've got some specialized placed dungeons that you know, are made up and part of some quest line that usually you can't even get to unless you're doing that quest. So you do that, and you're gonna take you're gonna make it feel a lot bigger. The next thing to do is randomize people generation. This can be as simple as just, you know, literally applying, you know, using all the sliders that are in the in the thing, and using a race offset, because races do exist. A Chinese person is a different shaped head, a different shaped body than a Negro from Somalia, right? These are different peoples, and well, what you do is you can make a random centroid for the planet, because I'm going to assume that unless it's a very cosmopolitan place, most people are just going to live on their one planet. And in Traveler, the setting is of a large starfaring polity, but it takes a week and is fairly expensive to switch planets. So we'd keep that week to switch planets, but we'd allow the player to skip ahead, especially if they're the only person on a starship, or if if there's not going to be anything interesting happen during the trip. There's no reason to waste the player's time, but you make it jump space entered, and and then sound the jump emergence warning, and have any hijack attempt, like if customers were going to hijack your ship, you can, in Traveler, you could have them make their attempt, and during the trip, beginning, middle, or end of the trip, which would be cool. So all of this can be done. This is well within the technology. I mean, one of the things you'd have to do to make sure that you can do a seamless and quick loading introduction of new chunks of the world is generate them fast. And what you do is you can save for a random number generator a seed. So you save the seed, you can regenerate the planet's map on the fly. You never have to save that. All you do is you save the seed, and you use that same seed for generating the planet's characteristics and everything, and the map in the same order every time, and you get the same planet every time. So all I have to do to save a planet is literally, in fact, to save the whole map of the planet, is save that seed. Under Traveler, you can use that seed to generate the basic characteristics of the planet. Then that's the first thing, and then the next thing you do is you generate the map of the planet, and then the next thing you do is generate the story about the people on the planet, and so you just push ahead with this stepwise thing until you've drilled down to where you need to be. And you'll never have to save anything. You can always generate it randomly, but it will always turn out the same for that planet as long as that seed is known. You know, a great example is the Minecraft worlds. There's Minecraft seeds that you can find online that give a specific Minecraft world every time under a certain version, and give you some feature about that map that's interesting that people have shared. Like it spawns a village right where you are, or it spawns a village with no people, or it spawns, you know, all sorts of cool things that they've found in the random seeds. But you just make it cleaner looking than a game that's, you know, 25 years, that's been 15 years old. The same thing with the locations on the planet. You can save when you generate the pixels on the, you know, 10,000 pixel map of the planet. So you can display it at 4K resolution and you know, zoom into a third of the planet on the screen. Well, that's great. You know, without doing any additional calculation. Well, each of those 10,000 pixels for, you know, multiple. You can make all that random and generate from each pixel a local map using that pixel's data, or the random number you got at the higher level as the seed for generating the local map for that pixel. And that pixel will give you a different size local map, which might be, you know, if we're talking a 10,000 kilometer planet, 10,000 mile planet, and you've only got, you know, 20 or 30,000 pixels around the equator, you know, that 31,000 pixels around the equator to make one pixel equal 1 mile. Well, a mile is 5,000 feet, and if you and you know, you can generate a terrain for every hundreds feet of that, and not and still feel like you're chunking it, right? But 100 feet between terrain types makes some sense. And, you know, copse of trees might be a and it'd be based upon the population. You'd populate buildings into this and things like that. You'd put in rivers and based upon the water. Oh, fuck. What was that? What explodified? All right. Anyway. So you can make a much better world and location generator than what Starfield was. I'm going to try and get in on the back, around the back. Inaccessible, damn it. around and leave.
Somebody was shooting me. Where is he? This way. I don't even need to see you. I don't care. Domain accessible ships. That's another thing. Don't tell me anything is inaccessible. Everything is accessible. If I have to place a demo charge, you could say it's locked. But there's all, locks only run up to a certain effectiveness, right? I'm a master lock picker. I should be able to pick any lock that's on that door. There's no way, what's going to happen if you've, you could say the door won't budge because it's sealed with air pressure, but then you can blow it. You blow the seal somehow with a laser cut through a pinhole in it or something, and now you've vented the atmosphere inside or out or whatever, right? So by implementing a proper physics engine to start with, a lot of things that are clunky about Starfield would have been just solved instantly by implementing even as simple world generation as Traveler has. A lot of things about this would have been solved. There wouldn't have been a reason to have an edge to the space map. There wouldn't have been a reason to have so few types of planets. We've seen in Spore that you can do procedurally generated, decent looking creatures. So we borrow a page from Spore and we make procedurally generated, decent creatures, but we don't have to store them because we can use the random number generator to start off the procedural generation. We can use fairly simple logic about locale to create what I would call ecological zones, and then each ecological zone that can't get to another ecological zone of the same class will have unique creatures based upon that planet's life type, right? So you can have life on each of these planets going from, a life level of microbial all the way up to, through a fungus to, you can have the planet work out how to be how to do fungus, how to do a plant, how it has the life figured out how to make an animal, has
right? So each of these steps in evolution you can apply to the planet, and the planet can have a life biome based upon that. So if all you've got is plants, well, you're gonna be going to maybe you've got algae seas then, and lichen on the land. If you've got into and then you can apply over that an applied biosphere of human life or some other alien life. You generate a few random worlds until you come up with ones that have intelligent life already, and then you get to use that biome if the intelligent life has gotten to space. And by doing this, you come up with a rich thing, a rich universe that you can bring to the full size of the galaxy if you want. You make sure you don't break immersion by blowing away the Drake equation, which means that you can't have nearby radio civilizations, which means you've got to limit the chances so that doesn't happen, right? I can make a Drake equation up, Drake equation filters up that will really push in to make it so that humanity is the only radio civilization within 50 light years. And if I make it so that people only use radio until they get a better technology, when when gravitational manipulation comes in or something, and you wouldn't notice the right now we can only sense gravitational waves, made by black holes. So you can do this. You can use the physics, the science, the existing gaming resources, the lore, and would Far Future Enterprises license a Traveler video game for something like that? Oh, fuck yeah. They'd have done it in a heartbeat. You could have used Traveler 5's ship gen and just made blocks for each of these drives at each, for each, and make it look have it look different. You can procedurally generate that too. You just have to have a graphics and designs team that has some imagination, and a programming team that can use the primitives they come up with to generate these things on the fly. So you've got one engineering team, right? And so when you open up the panels to work on your jump drive, everything's good, cool. And you make it so that, all these tools that you can easily model, that are available in freeware packages, or low price packages as existing models, you make it so that you can literally take anything that has been modeled and put it in the game. And then you put it in the game. Everything that has been modeled, everything that has been done by engineers in order to create it in real life, everything that's been done by engineers to everything that's been done by hobbyists in order to, or artists to make things. You import anything you can get your hands on. The price to buy a license for a lot of these models is going to be a trivial amount. You tell them, you'll give them 1/10 of a cent a copy of the game that sells, and they'll be happy because they're not making any money from it anyway. And a lot of it's freeware. They just want to see it out there. If they get credit, they're happy. So you'd have pages and pages of freeware models from all these people. And you have a bunch of ways of getting the random so like a cup. What is a cup? Well, it's why do we have basically 2 cup models in the whole game? When you could make a procedurally generated cup model indexed and have that cup model generate a cup in literally microseconds. I actually do need to sleep. Yeah, sleep would be a good idea. And couple thousand cycles and you've got a cup out of basically a number. And you just label it by cup and the RNG and code it into 64-bit RNG, coded into the extended hexadecimal, or even hexadecimal. It doesn't matter. 64 bits is only an 8-bit hexadecimal digit. 8 bits a hexadecimal, so that's nothing. Cup with 8 hexadecimal digits after it, and you've got a cup. And that is cup and that number. And you could then apply a label to it and put a printing on the cup. And so that would be cup labels such and so, one for every, you can, a little bit of development work to make these things, and you get a rich environment that feels like it is endless. Because you're not talking about always getting the same cup, but you get onto somebody's ship and they've got a galley that has 10 coffee cups that are all the same, but they're completely different than any other coffee cup you've seen. Or maybe they bought them from the same, from a planet you've been to, and you've seen that coffee cup style on a number of different planets, throughout this whole reach of Imperial space. But you get to Vargar territory, and the cup is different. The handle is a Vargar handle, which is not quite right for humans. And it feels weird, right? You get a cup from Aslan space, and it's going to be different because it's got to accommodate an Aslan paw. So you can make a lot of the things that are obviously handcrafted in Starfield, procedurally generated, for programmer time instead of graphic designer time. And that's the way to go. They should have hired 50 programmers to be doing these different things and working on these procedural generators for the different parts of the environment. They should have hired 10 or 15 plot writers to make procedurally generated plots that range from very local to star spanning, and go the whole gamut, right? And by doing that, you make a procedurally generated universe that feels coherent at all scales. And I think that's, in the end, what's going to be the great starfaring game. If you want to really work on it, you can make an economic sim on top of the political sim, on top of this planet sim. And so everything that you build requires specific resources. You can build anything in the game. I want to build a wrench, I can build a wrench, because it just takes this little bit of steel and a machine to fashion the steel right. It's not going to be as good a wrench as using a drop forge for the different parts and some machining to do the final smoothing of places where the parts are going to be in contact. Like a pair of pliers. In real life, this pair of pliers has 5 parts. Well, 6 parts. The first part is 2 of these. The first and second parts are these. These are forged. You can see these are cast and then machined for this outside surface, for this inside surface. And the 2 different holes are machined into them. Then I have this
little nut, or a nut, which is standard part, and then this specialty screw. Well, all of these pieces, and then the rubber castings that are probably heat shrunk to final fit. All of these parts could be manufactured by me to make a pair of pliers if I really needed to. But that would be a very expensive pair of pliers.
Similarly with everything in Starfield, all the way up to the tech, the maximum tech you're going to have for the game. Traveler, if we really wanted to make it simple, we could start at tech level 9, jump 1 ships, small extensions over modern technology, the beginnings of gravity manipulation. So maybe you've got something that's yay big, that's a gravity module, and you use 4 of them to make an air raft. You're good to go. You use that. It can be done. It's well within computer technology today. It's well within AI technology. We can use AI for we can make an AI model that we train about the universe, extend that to teach it about the polity it's in, extend that to teach it about whatever that character has as skills, and now I've got an AI model. I can say, you've got, this is your name, this is the NPC's name, this is the NPC's place, this is its job, what does it do next? And he works 3rd shift at the jump drive manufacturing plant. He's welding welding on hydrogen shunting tubes so that you can create the Bose-Einstein condensate around the ship. Whatever it is, right? Because and Traveler, you have all these great tropes. You've got maneuver drive, reaction drives, and reactionless thrusters. All of this stuff is available in IP already, ready to go. If you just use an existing IP and bite the bullet and buy it. Anyway, that's my big idea, and I think it could really, really work. And I think Starfield selling 6 million copies shows that it's got potential, and the hunger is out there, and it could work. Anyway,